she's already going to be sloshed. She's going to have a water bottle full of vodka.
That's the way you were getting down.
Yeah.
In school.
In school. And then
bringing vodka to school in a water bottle.
And then I would get so high and drunk at school.
No teachers smelled it on your breath?
They did. They didn't care. Yeah. And like my dad was like pretty a big deal and top narcotics detective.
Welcome to Peggy's Recovery Corner. This is a recovery podcast where we talk about all things recovery. Recovery from what? From drug addiction, from alcoholism, and mental health. Today I have a very special guest, Elena.
Hello.
Welcome to the corner. It's about having you on here before, but you didn't want to come at first until you saw some of your friends come on, and then you said, all right, when are we doing this?
Yeah, because I mean, if she can do it, I can do it, right?
That's right. And you are a woman of recovery. You have how many months sober?
17.
17 months, and it's strong recovery. I watch you. I've seen you. I know how you do. You help a lot of people.
I do.
You stand out. You're how old?
I'm 23.
23 years old from Louisville.
Louisville?
Did I say it wrong?
You said it wrong. It's like you're gagging.
I didn't even
Louisville.
say. I didn't even say Louisville. I said Louisville. Did I say it right?
It's getting close. You're getting better.
I don't even like the way it's pronounced. Okay. Well, I'm happy to have you on here today. Let's talk about some things.
All right, let's get it going.
All right. So you come from a family of how many? How many
9.
kids? 9 kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm the baby.
You're the youngest one out of 9.
The youngest one out of 9. That's
Okay.
crazy.
And what was family life like growing up?
So my dad was just, out there pimping in his youngin' days. So my dad has 2 different baby mamas. So with his first one, he had like 3 kids and they lived in Minnesota. Then like he met my mom, which was like crazy. Like he was like the police officer that saved her life. And so they got together.
Wait. He was pimping, but he was a cop?
He was just like big. He was just a
He
big
was just
pimp.
being
Yeah,
big
he was
pimping.
just big pimping.
Okay.
Yeah, and he met my mom, and they had 3 kids together. And my mom already had a son, so he adopted the son. And then they got divorced when they moved to Kentucky, and my stepmom came in the picture. And like I've known her since I was 6 months old, and she had a daughter. So my dad took her in, and then like my brother met his girlfriend at the age of like 14, and she's been in my life ever since. So I was like 5 at the time. So he just brought in
just
all
to
these.
get this straight out of the way, because when I first saw you, I thought, is she Indian or is she black or what is she? Like, so what are you?
I'm Mexican, Puerto Rican, and black.
Okay, that whole mix.
There's more. I'll send my ancestry link later.
Okay, cool. But growing up, your family members and everything, is it majority black?
Yeah.
Okay.
We all have the same dad. My dad's black, so yeah.
Okay, your dad's black. And as you grew up as being this youngin, the youngest of the whole family, did you have a good family life? Was everything good?
So like with me and my siblings, we were always together. Like I remember growing up, we would have like a little basketball goal in our driveway, and we had this random trophy. I don't know whose trophy it was, but every week we would play basketball, and we have these basketball tournaments, and like whoever won that week would get like the little trophy, and they would be like the top of the world, like the popular kid in the house. Because I mean, there's 9 of us. It's like growing up in a little classroom. But so yeah, we're all super, super close.
It's like a good family system.
Yeah, like me and my siblings, like to this day, like we did have a falling out when I came out here to get sober. But other than that, like we were always tight. Like especially my he's the youngest out of the boys. So yeah, him and I are like super tight. Like we're twins. He's 7 years older than me, but we look alike. We act alike. We just understand each other to the full extent. Yeah.
And did you do good in school?
So I've always been like a social butterfly. I just love attention, no matter what, whether it's
you were a
good or
daydreamer.
bad. Yeah.
You were doing everything except for schoolwork?
But that's the thing. Like I would talk all class, and it's just like, I don't need a teacher. Like if teacher's lecturing, I'm ADHD. Like I'm just going to sit there. I'm not going to comprehend anything that comes out of your mouth. So like I would just sit there. I'm like, open up a textbook at the last minute of class, and I would just finish all my schoolwork and then that. So like in school, I was pretty good, but like having me do homework, no, I have other things to do. So I would always like push off homework.
Okay.
So that just brought my grades down really low.
Substances. What is the first substance that you ever used?
Alcohol.
And how old were you when you did that?
I was 12.
12 years old. And
Yeah.
where did the alcohol come from?
So my dad is like a complete normie. He doesn't drink. He
Right.
doesn't smoke. So he found my brother's alcohol and he confiscated it. And like me being nosy, like I don't know, I was like, my dad's way too perfect. Like, let me just go through his drawers and try to find some secret.
He confiscated and hid it?
Yeah, he hid it. And I was like, I'm just gonna find whatever. I don't know. I was always trying to figure something out and like pin something on my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through his drawers and I found it. I was like, this looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was Jim Beam. I was like, I always hear about this. And like in Kentucky, they have Jim Beam sunflower seeds, and I loved them.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe it's gonna taste like it. And I just took a little swig. I'm like, ooh, my mouth's kind of numb. I kind of like it.
Right.
So it was just like,
By yourself, you were drinking this?
yeah.
Oh my God.
I like literally crawled on my parents' bedroom floor trying to be like some sneaky army man or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, and like every other day, I would just start taking little swigs.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then other stuff. What did you get into?
When I turned 13, I was like considered one of like the popular kids just because I don't know, I was a social butterfly,
Mm-hmm.
and I like became friends with this really popular girl, and like her parents did not care what we did whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Like she ran her house at the age of 13, which is wild to me,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, "Let's go smoke some weed." I'm like, "For sure." I'm like, "All right." Like, I definitely do that day to day, anyways, and so we get in some random car, pick up the weed, and then next thing you know, we're like breaking into people's backyards and like having full on pool parties at these random people's houses, and like some of them were
This is
out of
all
town.
in Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's the way people get down out there in Louisville?
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know about everybody, but
The
that's
way
how
you were
I
getting
did.
down.
Yeah.
That's how you guys were getting down. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it just became parties like that young?
Yeah. It was
13?
I was 13.
Wow.
Yeah, then 14, it just got progressively worse. I was
Okay.
just, yeah, like I told you earlier, like I was sitting there jumping out of my second story window,
Mm-hmm.
and where I was so bad, I always had bruises all over my leg from falling out of it.
Out
and
of the window into the pool or on the ground?
on the ground. This is at my house, so it was just like I had like this huge back patio porch,
Right.
and I would just, you know, it's pretty high. It was pretty high, and
Yeah.
I would tie a sheet, and sometimes I would like rip it and tie it to like far down, so
Yes.
like the whole thing would collapse, and I would just fall on my back porch, and I was like, oh God, I hope I didn't wake my parents up, and I would just boot it. So my stepmom's a paramedic, and my dad's a cop, and I'm like, I'm gonna get my ass handed to me if I get caught. So I just
What
left.
kind of a cop was your dad?
He was a narcotics detective.
Narcotics detective. And already this young, you're already getting into narcotics.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
for
okay.
sure.
And then life went on?
Yeah, life just went on.
Were
Like,
you cutting class?
no, actually, I was always too scared to cut class.
So you always made it to school, but you weren't really like attentive in school.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And then like till like high school, that's when like when I got my car, my stepmom, I don't know, she just like she was like loved me. I don't know, she loved spending time with me, and I would just like feed her ego constantly to get what I wanted. And I'm like, I would text her, I'm like, hey, like I know you want Starbucks right now, like I can bring it to you. It's right next to my school.
Mm.
She was like, say no more. She's like, I'm signing you out right now. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. And then we would leave. And I see you have a Prince symbol on your arm. And that's so funny because, like, I literally, in high school, my parents signed me out for a whole, like, month just to go on all these, like, tribute concerts for Prince. And, like, we dyed our hair purple and everything. Like, whatever my stepmom was into, she was, like, really into Prince still to this day.
Oh
and,
my
like,
God.
we would just dive deep. I'd dive deep into Prince. I'm like, you know what, Mom? Like, let's do this. Like, get me out of school so I can do this. It's Prince related. She's like, say no more. I'll talk to your dad about it. I'm like, all right, bet.
I got to say this. 23 years old, knowing what this means and the fact that you even have respect and know who Prince is and love that, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say it enough. I seen some kid wearing a Purple Rain t-shirt at the gym, and I'm like, do you know who that is? He goes, I have no idea. I'm like, why would you wear the shirt of a person that you don't even know?
Yeah.
Like, you should go and investigate all of his stuff and learn who Prince is.
Yeah. It's
So
weird.
that's cool that you know.
Yeah, no, my dad, like, he lived in Minnesota, so, like,
Oh, yeah,
he
yeah, you
knew-
mentioned that.
Yeah, so, like, my mom grew up there, and my dad moved there when he was, like, a teenager, and so he knew Prince's family. He was in a band and played at the same clubs as Prince.
Nice.
My uncle was actually in one of his, in the movie.
Oh,
He
really?
was, like, one of the extras in the movie. My dad was
Nice.
supposed to be there, too, but, like, yeah.
I love that. This is music to my ears. Wonderful. Okay, so then as life went on, what else did you get into in high school as far as substances?
In high school, it wasn't really that much. It was just, like, I was a person pulling up to the parking lot and like I already had a bottle underneath my car seat, and then like I would have an expanded amount of weed. I don't even know how I
So
got
you
the
were
money.
smoking and drinking.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
before school, and like so bad, like I'm literally sitting there stumbling. My teachers, like some of them, like really kind of like, "Hey, you want a brownie?" And like it was a special brownie. I'm like, "Cool."
Edibles.
Yeah, and so like a lot of my teachers, they enabled me a whole lot, and like they just fed into it, and they're like, "You got some more?" Or like with my alcohol, I'm like, "Yeah, you're for sure. Here, you want some?"
Right.
And like I'm just getting sloshed, and like that's how everyone knew me in high school. Like, no, without a
What
doubt.
grade were you in then?
Around this time, I
Junior,
was
senior?
like junior around this time.
Okay.
And so, yeah, like everybody just knew me as the person that, for like, no doubt, Elena's going to come into this classroom. She's going to walk into school and she's already going to be sloshed. She's going to have a water bottle full of vodka.
That's the way you were getting down.
Yeah.
In school.
In school. And then,
bringing vodka to school in a water bottle.
and then I would get so high and drunk at school.
Nobody, no teachers smelled it on your breath?
They did. They didn't care. Yeah. And like my dad was like pretty a big deal in like Louisville for me. He was a top narcotics detective.
So wait, let me see how this works. The teachers don't care because they know that you're the son of a man that's a narcotics
Daughter, but yeah.
oh, sorry, daughter of a detective or
Yeah.
narcotics cop. So they don't care because they're afraid of that?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really know. I just never got caught with anything.
What kind of school was it? I mean,
It was
was
a
it
public school. There was like over 2,000 kids in it. It was a huge, huge high school.
and what kind of an area did you live in? Was it upper class,
So-
middle class?
Growing up, like my family grew up in Newburgh, which isn't like the best area around. Yeah, like we would always remember being at my big mama's house. That's what I call my grandma. That's real country now that I think about it. But
Right.
yeah, I was always at my big mama, my big daddy's house, and like all my cousins, like just running the streets, running and gunning, and that's kind of like where we grew up. And then my
Was
dad,
there gang activity and things like
yeah,
that?
like for sure. It's everybody thinks Louisville is so country, but it's ratchet. It's so ratchet.
Right.
But yeah, then my dad kind of got sick of living, like being a narcotics detective,
Right.
living in that type of area. It wasn't the best. So then he moved us into like a middle class type
Okay.
neighborhood. But like even there, like I don't know. I remember I was like in middle school, and he was like, "Yeah, you guys can't go in the backyard. There's an investigation. They found like a dead body in the backyard." I'm like, "All right, great."
Wow.
Like I don't know, it was some weird stuff. I'm like,
So then, did you finish high school on time?
so I actually finished high school early. So I kind of came to the conclusion, like it was a technology school, so everything was on the computers. We barely had any paper schoolwork or
Right.
even homework at that. So
Lucky you. We didn't have
I
none of
know.
that. Yeah.
I love dad cheated on everything. But so my senior year, I decided that school was getting in the way of all my partying, and like I couldn't get drunk and like my drunkenness or
Yeah.
my high while I was at school, because like I chipped this whole front tooth is fake because I fainted at school because I was so fucked up.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I was like, it's getting in the way. Like if I was at home, that would have never happened. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna drop out. And so I dropped out for like 2-3 months, and I was like, you know what, a lot of my friends did online school and finished high school early.
Oh, so you
So-
finished like that?
Yeah, I went on like online high school, and I had to restart my whole entire senior year, and I finished it within like a month and a half.
That's why you finished early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And like even then, like we were supposed to go to a building for 3 hours. I couldn't even commit to 3 hours of sitting in a building. So I was the person, like my best friends and I would meet up in the parking lot, because I convinced like all my close friends to drop out with me and go do this online school.
Right. Because
So
you're
we
that
would-
popular girl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and like everybody's like, oh yeah, Elena gets big fucked up. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So we would meet up in the parking lot. We would smoke, get like really high, and then we would go to stores, and we're like, we were hungry, but we don't have money. We just spend it on all these drugs and everything. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I would walk into Target, get one of the purses from the purse section, fill it up with whatever,
Walk out.
and then walk right out.
You didn't get caught?
Never got caught.
You never got arrested?
I've never been arrested
Oh my
a day in my
God.
life.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, was the plan after high school to go to college or anything like that?
No. Definitely
Not
not. Definitely
Who
not.
were you living with when you were done with high school?
I moved out.
And where did you get your own place?
Yeah, I got my own place, and it was my rent was like $475, and I lived with these like other 3 girls who I thought they were already best friends. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect thing. Like, I know you guys from Instagram, and like, this is about to be great. We lived in like the literal hood.
Uh-huh.
It was bad. Like, we couldn't walk out of our, like, to be out of the house past 11 o'clock, like, you're asking to get shot.
Was that bad?
It was bad. Like, the place is actually shut down now because there were so many shootings.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. But I lived there, and
what kind of a career were you?
I was a stripper because my
Okay.
dad did not agree with any of the choices I was making. And so he cut me off. I was like, you know what? I can make my own money. I don't need you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
When you first ever wanted to go and become a stripper, did you think this is easy money? Was there any fear behind it, or did you say I got to make my ends?
It was just like 'cause the strip club. I could walk to the strip club from my house.
Okay.
It was that
So
close.
it was a known spot.
Yeah, it was a known spot. And like a lot of the girls that lived in the neighborhood or the apartment complex, they were all strippers too.
How old were you when you started stripping?
I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then and your dad knew?
No, my dad did not know at that time.
Okay.
So I was really sneaky. Like, my dad would come home off work and tell me like how he busted these people, and I'm like, all right, so that's what I don't do.
But you weren't living with
Yeah, no, I wouldn't like, but like hearing the stories growing up of how he busted people, I'm like, so I can't do that.
Oh, but
this
you
is how I-
can't deal drugs. You can't become a drug dealer, but you can go do dancing.
Not necessarily. It was just like, I know how people get caught up doing things they shouldn't be doing, so I'm gonna figure out a way I can do everything I want without getting caught. And I did it successfully for a while, and like
Right.
until my sisters, like their friends from high school, they would come in and like I would try to wear wigs and everything and like put on drastic makeup sometimes just to, like cover who I was.
Right.
And like I refused to let anybody like call me by my name at the club. And
Your
so-
real name.
Yeah. And so yeah, my sister's friends kind of messed it up for me and told them, and my whole family found out, and I was like, oh
Your dad found out?
yeah.
And what'd he say?
Oh, he was livid.
I'll bet.
Yeah, and like he lived in Florida,
Uh-huh.
so he couldn't really do anything. But like my dad, he has like a federal security business, so he has like private investigators and everything. I'm like, yeah,
Did he hire them to come watch you?
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like my mom found out one day. Like my mom, she still lives in Kentucky, and she was dating like this big, huge like boxer guy.
Mhm.
And I just remember like she's blowing up my phone. I'm not answering. She calls the club, and they're like, Elena, like your mom's like on the way. I was like, what?
Oh man.
Oh my gosh, I like ran home as fast as I could. Like my mom is like literally when you think of a crazy Latina,
Uh-huh.
that's my mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that
she's the
crazy.
Latina style.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom was like a little Mexican gangster in her days, and like she don't care who you are. She's gonna tell you about yourself, and you might have a little fist in your hand, or not your hand, your face after.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was it a long career doing that? Just a couple years,
It
months?
was just a couple years, just because COVID happened and like the whole shutdown, and then when the club did reopen, it was just like day shift, and like I don't want to be in a club during the day. Like I
Yeah.
want to be out running and gunning with my friends.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And were you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And how were you getting by?
Well, I made an OnlyFans,
Mhm.
and then like my boyfriend at the time, I've always had like throughout the time I was dating like 3 different guys at once. I didn't care, but they were all like big time drug dealers and
Mhm.
everything. So like my drugs are free
Yeah.
at this time. And at this time, like I was doing perks and everything. Like my friend, her parents were war vets, so they got prescribed like 120 perks.
They
every
had all
month.
the perks on,
Yeah, so it was
on
like
deck.
yeah, so 120 both parents, 240 perks every month coming in, and then my
Were you
friend-
smoking them?
No, I was just popping them,
Mhm.
straight popping them. So yeah,
So now you had a perk addiction.
yeah, I was supposed to be selling them, and
Were you
I
drinking with it
didn't.
too?
Oh yeah, for sure. That was like without a doubt. I was no matter what, alcohol was always in my life.
Mhm.
Like that's the one thing I could never let go of.
So full blown addict at this point.
Yeah, there was never a day
you
I was
needed the
sober.
perks.
Yeah,
And was there ever times that you couldn't get it?
no,
So it was always available
yeah,
in some way.
in some
shape or
way,
form.
shape, or form. Yeah,
Was it ever fake perks?
no, they were straight from the VA.
Okay, so you weren't messing with none of that
Mm-mm.
stuff from the counterfeit perks.
No,
Okay.
no. Only like time I came close to like with fake stuff was the ecstasy. It was definitely like not actual ecstasy. Like yeah, it gave me that like little upper, but it was also like it was just not it at all. It was a
Okay.
triple stack XC. You can like see how pressed it was and how fake it was. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
bad.
You just knew.
Yeah.
You ended up down in Florida for a while?
Yeah, I
And this is after all this?
kind of during it, like I went through a horrible, like really nasty abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I like begged my dad. I was like, Dad, like he still has our Kentucky home. I was like, Dad, like I need to get out of this relationship. Like, please, like, can I just move back home?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, here or Kentucky? I'm like, I'm never coming to Florida. You're crazy if you think I'm gonna live with you again. Like, I'm not following your rules. So
Yeah.
I'll live in the Kentucky home. I was like, all right. And that's where like I isolated a whole lot. Like, because all my friends, they like still live downtown on campus. And then here
So
I
you
am.
isolated at home
Yeah, isolated at home for like a few months.
and just getting fucked up and shit at home?
Yeah, I was just like
Perked out?
I wasn't really doing perks at that time. I was just like I said, alcohol was like my main get down.
So you were always drinking?
I was always drinking. I was always drunk no matter what. It was really, really bad. Like I honestly don't remember a majority of my teen years.
Okay. What happened? Because you're so young and you've been sober for 17 months. What happened in your life that you decided this isn't working?
So when I moved to Florida, like I've always worked in the club scene since I've like been an adult. So I was like a bottle girl, a bartender. I did club promotions. Like I would literally go to a club, get in for free, and have a free section in bottles. And like so, I lived that fast, crazy life, and like made so much money to the point where I didn't even need to like have a job anymore. So like when I didn't have a job, I just had, and I was making like $1,000 to $2,000 a night, being like a bottle girl.
Oh,
and
really?
A bartender, yeah.
So you had kind of progressed from dancing to like being that.
Yeah, and so it was just like
And partying, party girl.
Party girl 24/7. There was no days off.
That's why we named this episode "Girl Gone Wild," but then sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like
So you were living that life.
Yeah, I was. And like with the drugs, like I started doing working the nightclubs and everything. Like I got into coke and like meth, which was usually cut with meth and everything. So
Well, the coke was cut with meth.
yeah, it's
What the hell?
Southwest Florida. Man, ask anybody about LJ's.
Kerry knows. He's from
Yeah.
he's from Fort Myers.
That's like the first time I ever
I
endured
mean,
it.
what a weird mix. Like coke and meth are not supposed to be mixed together.
Yeah, but it was a
Man, the
it was a
Floridians just had to
match.
ruin it.
It was a match made in heaven for me at the time. Like I stayed up for a month straight before I came out here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was 98 pounds.
Oh man, you already don't have a lot of weight on you. That probably just made you all sucked up.
Yeah, it was bad. Like my parents were severely scared. I remember like my parents.
Were you around your parents?
Oh yeah, my parents like
They
thought
would
I was.
see you?
Yeah,
Oh my
they had
God.
no. They just thought I was like a heavy alcoholic.
Heavy alcoholic losing all this weight.
Yeah.
They probably didn't want to think that their daughter was doing these
Yeah,
stimulants.
nobody does. And like it was crazy because like my life was so unmanageable. Like the amount of fights I got into in Fort Myers,
Physical?
physical. That's one thing I've always.
Your
I
little
loved-
self?
Oh my God, yeah, I love to fight.
Fighting who? Just girls in clubs?
Not just girls. I would
Men
fight grown
too?
men. Like yeah,
So you were a badass.
yeah. Like if you said one thing wrong to me, I would definitely cuss you out, and then my fist was gonna follow up
I
with
would.
it.
This is not the Elena I know.
I know, and everybody's so
I would
shocked.
never imagine that with you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess when you get fucked up, you don't really know yourself and you could lose your shit.
Yeah, like I remember I moved my brother, the one that like I consider like my twin.
Yeah.
I moved him to Fort Myers with me, and we worked the club one night, and then the next day we got fired because we went to go pick up tips, and this other security guard was like looking at my brother weird, and he started cussing at my brother. I'm like, oh my God, that's not what you want to do. And he told my brother to stand up. I was like, all right, I guess this is happening. We jumped him, and like
You and your brother?
yeah, yeah.
Great. I love this.
Right
man.
downtown in Fort Myers. And then like I had a client after I got sober and I came out here, I was working in treatment. I had a client come up to me. He was like, I know you.
From down there.
Yeah, I was like, how do you know me? He was like, you're from Fort Myers, right? I was like, I lived there for a while. He was like, yeah, I took a video of you at IHOP jumping a stripper. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, no, you didn't. He was like, and he showed me and he showed my bosses. My boss was like, Elena, what is wrong with you? You're crazy. I was like, I told everyone I used to be crazy. You guys didn't believe me. And they're like, oh God, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, now I am.
So wait, so what was the breaking point? Like what happened down there that you decided I gotta go get help?
My best friend, she just smoked a lot of meth. the night before. And like, that was our thing. We're like, we're only going to snort it. We're never going to smoke it.
Yeah.
So she smoked it.
I
And
did
then,
the same shit. I remember saying the same thing.
Yeah.
That's some junky shit. I won't do that. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna snort it. That's not so bad. Yeah.
Ruin my nose
Yeah,
completely.
yeah.
So, I don't know. We were just stranded at some random guy's house, and like we finally made our way back to Fort Myers because we were like on opposite side of Florida at this point.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we got over there. And she's like, she went to go smoke meth with one of these like old ladies we always hung out with at the bar.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there trying to go to sleep. I could not sleep for my life. And she's like, Elena, like, it's time for me to go to rehab again. Like, because she's like, she does the whole rehab thing over and over.
She was a regular.
Yeah. And like, I never even knew about rehab or anything. She's like, it's time. I was like, all right, like, let's have one last hurrah. And so we go out that night, and like, I get completely like shit faced. I try to fight 5 grown men outside the club. I had my little like freaking slippers on, and I kicked them off, and she had to like pick me up and sit on top of me so I would calm down.
Yeah.
And then the next day, like, I would drink like a whole, he has like White Claws, twisted tea, and a bottle of tequila. And she was like, we need to go say bye to like old man Dan. I'm like, all right, look, let's go. Like, I knew I could get some free blow from him. So I was like, let's go. Like, let's go say bye to him.
Might as well get Yate up before you gotta go.
And so the plan was like, we were both going to move out of the place because we lived at her dad's friend's house. So we were both going to move out, and I was going to move back in with my dad, and she was going to go to rehab, and that was going to be that. I was going to see her back there in 30 days.
You're going to move in with your dad in Florida.
Yeah. And so, what happened? So we go to Dan's house, and I'm sitting on his bed, actively getting fucked up, and it's not even like, it's still morning. It's still AM, but to me, I'm still like, I haven't slept in a month. So I'm like, time's just an illusion.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're sitting there, she's telling Dan like why she's leaving and like everything. And then they both just look at me, and I'm like, why are y'all looking at me? And they're like, Elena, I think you should go too. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't have a problem. They're like, Elena, it's not even 11 a.m. yet, and look how fucked up you are. I'm like, it doesn't count because I haven't slept in months. They're like, exactly. I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, they already have your information. Like, all you have to do is agree to go. I'm like, how'd you guys get my information? They're like, don't worry about it, but like, there's a bed available for you if you want it.
Out here in California.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? F it. I've never been to Cali.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I remember driving like 120 on the highway to get to the airport because we were already late. And then the admission lady, she's trying to book my flight, and she's like yelling at the ticket booth lady over the phone. And I'm like yelling at the ticket lady, and I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm so drunk. And then we go to the bar at the airport as like everybody's boarding, waiting on us. Yeah. We take a few shots with this random old man named Tim. I only know that because like we took pictures with him and had a whole photo shoot with him before we got on the plane. We had a like 7-hour in Illinois where our best friend lives, and she like immediately Ubered us to the bar as soon as we landed, and like we bar hopped. I like made best friends with some homeless lady on the subway, and like got in a fight with these guys on the subway because they were like judging me.
Yeah, have one last fight before.
Yeah,
and then a little fighter.
Yeah, we hitchhiked back to the airport
in Illinois.
Yeah. I just remember the car had like screwdrivers for locks, and I was like, if this person kidnaps me, I'm gonna take that screwdriver
and just shank it. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like I was literally crazy. And then I remember like coming here, I like woke up, and I'm like, where am I? Like, am I still in Florida?
You came to in California.
Yeah. I was like, what? And then we had COVID. And I didn't know we had COVID. I just thought it was the drip.
You had COVID too?
Yeah, I just thought
it along the way.
Yeah, I got a concussion too. I had a concussion and COVID when I came here. And I just remember like sitting in a room for like a week and a half. I was like, you know what? This is the life. I love rehab. I have my own TV. I have people cooking for me, bringing me food. Yeah. Like, this is life. And then they're like, it's time for group. Like, it's over Zoom. I was like, no. I'm not doing it. I was the worst client in treatment whatsoever. Really? Yeah, I was cussing everybody out. I was trying to fight everyone. I ended up dating one of the detox techs, and like I had him bring me food constantly.
Dating him?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was manipulative in every way, shape, and form. Like, if I wanted something, I was gonna get it by any means necessary. Like, it was bad.
So then how are you doing so well then?
So
you have like a shift in your perception and style of thinking?
Well, yeah, like I kind of like I did what like everybody does. Like they were like, you should get a sponsor. I'm like, no. And then this lady came up to me. She's like, I'll sponsor you. I'm like, okay. And then I went back to treatment center. I was like, I got a sponsor. And I didn't call her for like the whole entire time I was there. I just said that she was my sponsor.
Yeah.
And then once I got out, like I started doing the whole 90 and 90. It was like my roommate.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. And then I got a boyfriend.
What do you mean? You got out of treatment and went where?
I went to another treatment. I went to a 90-day treatment.
90-day
like a
treatment.
sober, like sober living.
Did you get a boyfriend in treatment?
No, he was. He had like a year and some months.
Oh.
And I was like, this is the life. Like these are the promises. Like it's all coming true right now. I have the boyfriend. Like I'm in sober living, do the thing. And then he found out he was cheating on me.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I was out of the sober living, and I was a house manager. And I like 4 months sober, which is wild. Should have never happened.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, I know. I don't recommend that at all. But yeah, so I found out he was cheating on me.
In all this, they made her a house manager too.
Yeah, which is wild. Who did that? But yeah, so I found out he was cheating on me. So I went out with my best friend I came out here with. She already relapsed. She found a rehab romance, and they were like shooting up behind CVS's and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I meet up with her, and she's like, you should text his ex-girlfriend. I bet he was cheating on you with her. I was like, you're right. So I messaged her on Facebook, and she was like, girl, I'm not the one. I'm like, what do you mean you're not the one? I was like, I'm not the one. I was like, I'm about to show you. So I looked up her name. I found her school, her son's school, and her address, and I showed up to both. And I was like, I can't do this sober. So of course, like, I got a drink. I got more than a drink. I drank a bottle of Mad Dog, 2 Buzz Balls, and a bottle of tequila, all within like a few hours. Like I want to, longest period was like probably 2 hours, but I don't even want to give myself that. It was probably like an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
of that within like an hour and a half.
So then what?
I got belligerently drunk, ran from the cops because she was definitely calling the cops on us. Like the front desk lady. Went to the beach. I don't remember the beach at all, but I know we went to the beach. And then I showed up to my ex-boyfriend's house, and that's all I remember. I just remember it was like around Halloween.
You were just drunk?
Yeah, it was around Halloween. It was October 27th. He had like an office like party. Mm-hmm. I just remember him like opening up his gate, and he has like a weird cowboy hat on and some ugly flannel. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I just woke up. I was like, I need to go. I have work. And I worked, again, I was a house manager, and I worked at a detox. So, like, one of my good friends now, like, she was one of my clients there. And, like, she's over here, like, fighting for her life detoxing. I'm over here hungover, trying to act like I'm not hungover.
Yeah.
Like, puking in the bathroom. They're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I just ate something really bad. It was bad. And then, so after that, like, I didn't really tell anyone about my relapse at all. I, like, kept it hidden. I would go to meetings still, but I would never raise my hand. I was never taking a chip.
Too proud to be a newcomer because you'd be found out.
Yeah, basically. And so like only person that knew was like my best friend and my sponsor, of course.
Sponsor knew?
Yeah. She was not very happy about that whatsoever. But yeah, so she found out, and then just like kind of stayed back for a while until I was like, you know what? Like, it's time
to get honest.
Yeah, and like I was at meetings, and like they were talking about honesty and everything. I was like, this would be a perfect chance. I'm like, no, it's too late. Don't you
hate it when you're living the lie?
Yes.
And then you be sitting in meetings and you hear it's calling you out.
I know, I hate it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And I started telling people. I made amends with like a lot of people, like, especially at meetings. I would like say like, I need to make amends with this, and I like spoke out about it. And then I took my year trip on October 28th of 2020.
But when you got honest, did you identify as a newcomer, or were you already like 30 days in?
I was already almost a year.
A year in?
Yeah.
Oh, before you admitted.
And it was just eating up at me. And I'm over here like house managing, and like I'm still like, I was always a house manager.
What do you think it was that was eating up at your conscience?
My pride, my ego.
No, but like you knew. Well, your sponsor knew. So did you guys like have these little discussions that you might like get honest about this?
Yeah, but like I kind of avoided her too. Like I avoided, like I was just
same
like,
lady that I know.
Yeah, okay. I was just full self-will run riot, like to the max.
So then what made you so serious? Because I know you. Like,
Yeah.
you're very serious about this.
Yeah.
Like, you're
I
serious
really
about
am.
staying sober. Like, there ain't no
Yeah.
middle of the road solution.
Yeah. Because it was just like, I guess my relapse, like drinking that much within like an hour, hour and a half, like
Mm-hmm.
that's wild. That's absolutely wild to think of. And
Mm.
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a true alcoholic. And
Okay. So you
so,
got honest with your
yeah.
innermost self.
Yeah, I had to. And so I was started like going to meetings. I was house managing a lot of the girls. I actually was like helping out on like some of the girls, like my little posse over there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, like I just saw myself in them, and like
Mm-hmm.
helping them like helped me. And then like even them, like they're telling me about myself. I'm like, okay, like it's time. Like I eventually, like I would tell them and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of just like got honest, and then I was like, you know what, it's time to like really dive deep. And that's when I started getting like the sponsees and everything, start
Mm.
taking people through the steps. And like not even that, like people like females, males who aren't even like I just try to help them in whatever
I see
way I
it.
can.
I see it. And you know what's cool is I first noticed you maybe less than a year ago, and I
Mhm.
thought I saw a crew. It was like a crew of you,
Yeah.
all these young ladies that are like really, really having a good time in sobriety.
Yeah.
You guys do things. You go places. What is that one place you guys went to where you got to smash shit?
Oh, the rage room.
Rage
Oh my
room.
god, I loved that.
You know what's crazy is after I found out about the rage room, I took my Dana's kid. We drove all the way over there one Sunday morning, and I found out you have to make an appointment. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh yeah.
Now I'm really raging.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
so cool, man. That's awesome. And it's about being a service. I'm telling you right now,
It really
Elena,
is.
we need more like you. We need more young people that are on fire for this thing because a lot of people are dying out there.
It is.
I mean, it's no joke.
Yeah.
I'm sure in the amount of time that you've been sober, even before, you probably knew some people that overdosed and died.
Yeah, since like growing up in such like a rough city, like a lot of my friends like died due to like mainly murders, and then like so I was used to that. But like coming out here and a lot of my friends dying due to like overdoses,
Yeah.
that hit a lot deeper for some reason, just because it's just like I get it 100%. Like I understand exactly what they're going through, and like it's really sad because like majority of people, it's just like sometimes I look at overdoses like kind of like a suicide. Like
It
you're,
is. It's a slow suicide.
It is.
It is.
And like that just like
Because the
something to
person
cope with.
kind of knows that they might
die.
they might die.
That might be their last.
But I think at some points too, like when you're in the deepest part of your addictions, it's like, I'll speak for myself. I had some motherfuckers that were telling me, Pej, you go hard, man. You keep going like that, you're gonna fucking kill yourself. I'll be like, good. At some point, you stop caring about
Yeah. I had
quality of life.
Yeah. But for me, it was more like it will never happen to me.
That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that, whether their friends are overdosing or they're using buddies or overdosing or whatever, they think it's not going to happen to me. Or if they do it, they thought, okay, I overshot the mark. I'll just do a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be real here. When it comes to like drugs like fentanyl and shit, this is
Oh my
no
gosh,
joke.
It's no joke.
It is a
whatsoever.
slow suicide or a quick suicide too.
Mhm.
Even
Yeah.
Prince.
Yeah, I know.
I got people in the Prince community, fans,
Mhm.
that try to come to me and tell, no, Prince was murdered. I'm like, by who? By the record company. No, check this out. You know who Prince was murdered by? Whoever made them counterfeit pills that he went after. That's all,
Yeah.
plain and simple. Like, if you don't know addiction, don't be trying to speak on it. This ain't
Yeah.
a conspiracy.
I know.
The only conspiracy behind it is what whoever's pumping this shit into this country, right? And that's what the reality of this thing is. So we need more like you. You got your posse over there too.
They're with me at all times.
Young ladies that are really about this thing. It's nice to see you on fire for this thing. Let the fire keep going and going. A lot of people say, I might have just been on a pink cloud. I've been on a pink cloud for 16 and a half years, and
Yeah.
I'm good with it. Like, I love it.
I love life. Like I honestly like my main thing of like why I'm so sober is because like I try to make my sober life. Everybody thinks like, oh, you got sober young, your life must be boring. I'm like, no, I'm having the time of my life.
Exactly.
Like I was like,
Because I think you tap into your real authenticity, like the real you.
yeah,
Everything else is a facade.
yeah,
And that's the problem. Too many people are so caught up in the facade. They think, and the people that find me on TikTok, how do you like, I think life will just get boring. Actually, no. If you really do what we do around here, life gets that much better.
I know. Like,
And your shit's radiant. I see it. Like the way you guys, seriously, all you ladies are, Trista too. I'm telling you. Same with Shar. Like just having you guys really as a unit makes it attractive because other people that are new want that or they see that and it becomes the attraction rather than the promotion.
Yeah. Trista and I actually were at the beach. What was it, Friday? Yeah, we were at the beach Friday and we were like sitting there talking. And like, I don't know, like that quote that we always say, like, to thy own self be true. Like, that's a true statement. Like, I try to change like every little thing about me and like try to be like the little soft, like flower girl and like peace, love, happiness. And like, I'm still I always say live, laugh, love through all conditions. Like, I'll always live by that.
Right.
But like at the end of the day, like I am from Louisville, Kentucky. I'm not one of these Cali girls. And I was trying to like morph myself to be something that like I thought everybody wanted me to be.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like the episode's called, like I'm wild.
Right.
I'm literally crazy. But it's just like I make it in like instead of taking the negative aspect of it, I take it and make it into something positive. So it's just like, yeah, like let's ride down this road, not speeding. I don't speed. But like let's like drive down the road, blast our music, scream, sing in the car. Like let's go to the concert. Like just because like you're sober doesn't mean you have to stop doing everything fun. Like I can fully admit, like because I am in the place of my sobriety and like and my spirituality, because I am like a woman of faith.
Yeah.
Like
which is of great importance.
Yeah, it is really good. It's so important to have that in your life.
Yeah.
But I still go to like clubs. Like my family's DD. Like when my sisters, my cousins would go out, like I'm their DD.
Oh, I love that.
And I'm the person in the club, like having the time of my life with a freaking thing of water and
for
Red
those
Bull.
that don't know what DD is, it's
designated driver.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're the safety zone.
I am. Like, and my friends love going out with me. Like my Norman friends love going out with me.
And it's cool
like,
this young and you can go out with them and you don't have the temptation to drink. Like you actually
all.
It's actually kind of interesting for us to be sober and be around them to see how they get fucked up. Like how it starts.
Oh my God, the progression. Oh my gosh.
You're just like, oh my God, I do not miss that
Yeah,
shit.
I know.
But you're fun to watch.
Oh my,
it's like the best of people watch, especially how fucked up some people get.
It's so
hilarious.
Funny.
It's hilarious.
Like my brothers are the worst, and like they like turn into like first they're like some hardcore gangsters, and then they turn into like some little like whiny babies. I'm like, oh my gosh, like take a nap in the back seat. Like I'll get you McDonald's and some fries, like sober you up a little bit. But it's so great. I absolutely love it. I love being the DD and like actually knowing that they're gonna get home safe is like one of the big things.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
Have your fun. Yeah, I love this. Okay, cool. Well, this is what I want. Since you're so young, and it's because you help so many, I want you to put some good energy out in the universe. If there's anybody out there that's watching this that could get something from you, what do you have to say to them? Male, female, it don't matter.
Kind of just like what I just said. Just because we're young doesn't mean our life is over. You like there's a life beyond your dreams if like with sobriety. Like you can achieve any and everything you want with this as long as you put like not yourself but like God first. Honestly, just put God first and just let him drive, and yeah, the rest will happen for you.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on the podcast.
No problem.
And just a reminder, this is Peggy's Recovery Corner. It can be found on all different platforms and also on my YouTube channel, which is Pej Interventions. You can find me on there too. Please subscribe. Also like it and share it everywhere. Let people see us because we want to help people. Love you all. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right.
Lay it your auntie out.